Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday, your weekly dose of all things Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, books, movies, games, board games, Tolkien estate, Kickstarters, TV shows, and whatnot. I'm your host, Justin. I'm joined, as always, by Cliff Broadway. Hello,
Hello
Cliff.
there, Mr. Justin. Welcome everyone to Torn Tuesday. It is TheOneRing.net, forged by and for the fans of J.R.R. Tolkien. And welcome aboard, everyone, for another weekly dose of, shall we say, mischief? Yes, mischief. Excuse me.
Mischief. Hey,
Mischief is
before we
afoot.
get into the show, Cliff, we had a big show last week. We had a big scoop, and I thought it'd be
Did we?
fun.
Did
I
we?
thought it'd be fun if we just bring that synopsis back up, and if you could, can you read it again? Because I'd just love to hear it in your voice.
Let's do it. You're so funny, by the way. All right. And I'm going to say hello to everybody else who's joining us. We have quite a live audience I see coming through on Facebook and on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and all the mischief is going on. Welcome to the whole live audience. We're about to begin the show. Tell me something,
I
Justin.
think we
When you
got
gonna? Where's the
we got
screen?
it.
No, I
Let's
don't see
do
it yet.
this.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Cliff.
Where is it?
We got it on the. You see it in the Zoom?
No, I do not. I only see you. I only
Oh,
see you.
okay.
Okay, hold
Well,
on. I guess. Okay, then excuse me, and I will go to this screen. Maybe there it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, let's see. uh, Amazon Studios' forthcoming series brings to screens for the very first time the heroic legends of the fabled Second Age of Middle-earth's history. This epic drama is set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and will take viewers back to an era in which great powers were forged, kingdoms rose to glory, and fell to ruin. Unlikely heroes were tested, hope hung by the finest of threads, and the greatest villain that ever flowed from Tolkien's pen threatened to cover all the world in darkness. Beginning in a time of relative peace, the series follows an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, as they confront the long-feared re-emergence of evil to Middle-earth. From the darkest depths of the misty mountains to the majestic forests of the elf capital of Lindon, to the breathtaking island kingdom of Numenor, to the furthest reaches of the map, these kingdoms and characters will carve out legacies that live on long after they are gone. Confirmed.
Confirmed. So I thought this week, now that we've verified and validated that scoop, and it looks like the rest of the entertainment blogosphere picked up on it, and they have their own connections to Amazon. So IGN, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Empire Magazine, all of these websites were able to verify the authenticity of that. So we're real excited to be on the right track. So I thought today, Cliff, we would spend today catching everybody up on all of the other rumors and innuendos and things that we've heard about that we cannot fully validate or verify. So everything in this episode is conjecture, it's speculation.
Oh, wait a minute. That means we're starting off right off the bat without any real news. We're going straight over to have a pint at our favorite table at the Green Dragon Inn.
So
It is time for a Green Dragon gossip from stem to stern, right? Okay, all right. So that's what we're doing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it turns out that we're going to throw some speculations your way now that will probably, maybe come back to bite us, and maybe it won't. Maybe we'll actually get some of this accurately. This is the fun of speculating.
I've got
Oh
my
no.
pint.
You've got your pint.
I've got my pint ready.
Is that your Burger King 2001 Burger King collectible glass?
Still in box.
That's
Still
hilarious.
in box. So,
hilarious. Cheers, everyone. Welcome to the Green Dragon, everyone. Nice to have you here.
So, Cliff, you've heard a bunch of stuff. I've heard a bunch of stuff. I've seen
stuff. I've seen some stuff too, by the way. Yes, and I've heard some stuff. Yes.
Well, Cliff, I want to start at the top show. I got a ton of stuff to run through. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to tell you what the rumor is. I'm going to give you my best estimate as to the accuracy of this. And again, until we get an official acknowledgement, I'm not going to say anything's verified or validated or anything until it is. So this is all conjecture, but based on a bunch of things that I will go into, I will tell you how accurate this is. So first off, let's see if our producers are ready. I can announce today, I am 90% certain that Russell Crowe is the main star.
I knew it.
Amazon's billion-dollar Lord of the Rings.
I have always enjoyed this rumor more than any of the other rumors that we have bantered with. I love it. I knew it. I knew it. I still believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have any confirmation, but because of the stuff that we have been seeing online, it looks like they're actually talking to one another. And why would you conjecture anything else? I mean, come on. Why would you assume anything else? But we're looking on Twitter, and Russell Crowe is actively on his Twitter account having conversations with the showrunner and the writers of the Lord of the Rings series. And combine that with the other reported rumors that he's hanging around somewhere in New Zealand. And we
look at the size of that beard, Cliff. Are you
we
seeing
don't know what
picture?
For. Yes, I've seen him in. I don't know when was the last picture.
But his beard is bigger than we think. It looks like a big old second age beard.
Do you folks think that is Gil-galad? Okay, because look, what I just read to you out of the synopsis, we are specifically not given a lot of characters, and I want the audience to remember that so much of this focus in Amazon's synopsis is on geographic clues. And these clues and statements about, being deep under the misty mountains are obviously clues to Moria, but they also say that they're specifically at Lindon, the elf kingdoms of Lindon, previously known on the map of Beleriand, before the War of Wrath, as the realm of Osiriand. And that's where a whole bunch of, Nandor, these green elves.
I'm going to cut you off there because Russell Crowe is not an elf, and he has nothing to do with the elves. But
deep dive that the most important elf in the story is Gil-galad. And if you're telling me in the rumor, why would Russell Crowe come into the show if he was not the number one elf, and that is Gil-galad?
Why wouldn't you put him as the number one dwarf who builds Dwerodelf?
Who builds Moria? No. Yeah. Okay. Because, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of thought that Sir Lenny Henry was going to maybe a dwarf.
There's 7 dwarf There's 7 dwarf kings that need to. There's 7 dwarf kings that need rings.
Wait. I'm so convinced that the Russell Crowe rumor is true. And I'm giving the audience all this background about Lindon. I'm trying, perhaps in vain, to connect Russell Crowe to Gil-galad.
He's not an elf. Hey,
what if he had to shave?
I'm going to the chat.
He shaved the beard. What if he shaved the beard?
I'm going to the chat. He grew the beard for Lord of the Rings.
Okay. I was thinking that maybe he would have shaved the beard for Gil-galad.
He's got a big full beard for Lord of the Rings. So he's either playing the king of the dwarf of dwarves, or a king king that. The chat room.
How about Círdan? Círdan is the only elf who is named to have a beard, and Círdan.
He's not an elf, dude. He's not an elf. He has not the cheekbones of an elf. Okay. Look, people in the chat room have been with us long, and people are remembering in the chat. Thank you for bringing it up. Russell Crowe was originally rumored to be in Lord of the Rings back in the day.
You mean in the 2000s when the first trilogy came out?
Yes. It was rumored that Russell Crowe was on the short list of 5 actors considered for Aragorn.
Oh, okay.
Before
Because
Stuart Townsend, and then they chose Stuart Townsend. He didn't work out, and then they went with Viggo Mortensen. It is rumored that Russell Crowe was on the short list, and we heard that many times. So I believe that he was on the short list for Aragorn. So
well,
here we are.
It's also likely that Russell Crowe could be human man, or he could be a dwarf lord. Maybe he could be the dwarf lord who builds Moria. I don't know.
That's what I
We
just
really don't
said.
know. Okay. I'm going along with you.
But I can tell you, I can tell you, he's not an elf, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate you getting me off that pedestal, because if you had not pulled me off that pedestal, I would have gone on for weeks and weeks and weeks faking that Russell Crowe was playing a role that he was not. So thank you for taking me from that idea.
By the way, if we can bring up that photo again from that premiere, Russell Crowe sporting a huge second age beard, and he's put on some pounds. Cliff, I'm just thinking that wouldn't it be interesting, in the history of mankind, kings have always have largely been large because their wealth and their status allows them to eat good and not be active. So my thought is, wouldn't it be interesting if they've got 9 kings of men to corrupt, and we see those men as Nazgul ring wraiths? We see them as ring wraiths, right? But they're all gaunt and thin by the time they're a ring wraith. Wouldn't it be interesting as a story and character construct to have these giant men of men withered down through the deceivingness of Sauron into the thin, frail which
that would be a fascinating concept to show that because that.
And let me ask you this:
that would be visually interesting,
Cliff,
to say the least.
If Russell Crowe is the king of all kings of men, and he is corrupted by the ring, and he ends up being the Witch King of Angmar, the one that is destroyed by Eowyn on the fields of Pelennor.
Wow.
Does that make Lord of the Rings better? Does that make that scene better?
I don't know if it makes that scene better, but it makes it fan fodder. That makes a future conversation with family at the dinner table where they're just like, oh, by the way, now that's Russell Crowe now. That would be interesting to say the least, but I don't know if it would be better. But here's what's cool. I think the word you're looking for, would it be cooler? Not better, but asking me if it would be any cooler. Yes, I think it would be insanely cool and interesting. But I'm going to say that I'm grateful for this rumor because I've been a proponent of this for months, that Russell Crowe is involved. And I'm grateful, really grateful to have him on this Lord of the Rings series in any aspect whatsoever, whether he plays a dwarf, a man, or an elf who shaved his beard. Maybe, okay, we'll see what happens. But as far as him being one of the kings of men who becomes first to be suckered into Sauron's plan, whoa, that would give an actor of his caliber something to do over 5 seasons that would be on the narrative side extremely rewarding and interesting.
And Cliff explained why we're putting this rumor at 90% confidence level. It's because he has been tweeting conversely with the showrunners and the writers. And the other reason is my parents will watch this Lord of the Rings show if he's on it. He is such an A-list caliber star worldwide that regular people that haven't read the books and hate that we watch it at Christmas time every year, like, oh, we're watching Lord of the Rings again, but then they get engrossed in the movie. Casual people, normies, will watch this TV show because Russell Crowe's in it. And that's why we're putting this rumor at 90%.
Normies, I appreciate that. That's funny, but come on. Look,
Do you think he's Durin the Deathless?
maybe, yes, maybe it's quite possible. But look at the time frame of the story. If Amazon goes to a much later time frame in the Second Age, and we're looking at the end of the Dominion of Numenor, when Numenor is starting to succumb to civil strife, and there's like the faithful to the Valar who are separating on another side of the island of Numenor. And what if the last king of Numenor is part of the focal point of the story, and we're not really looking at the creation of the rings? We really don't know. Where are they going to drop the line in the narrative thousands of years later on, where let me finish, where Russell Crowe could be Pharazôn, the last king of Numenor? We don't know.
I agree.
But if they set the timeline way thousands of years earlier, with the rings haven't even been made yet, then I don't know what Russell's part would be, except maybe a dwarf, maybe honestly, a dwarf lord.
Yeah, honestly, I think my first gut reaction is Russell Crowe is the last king of Numenor. It is worthy of the actor. It's worthy of his standing in the entertainment biz.
Okay, if he is going to play Pharazôn, then that gives us a major clue that the series is going to open its narrative window late in the timeline of the Second Age. And that, if we're talking Pharazôn, that means way after the rings were forged, and after the War of the Elves and Sauron is all done.
Well, movies have a chance. The TV show has a chance to compress a bunch of time into a shorter time frame. So,
no, you're talking about like a huge jump in time. You're talking about
it's fine. It's fine.
I'm wondering.
It's fine. They can crush that time. Hey, let's go to our second rumor, Cliff.
Not easily. No, they can't. They crush that time at the peril of losing the story, because Sauron, as Anatar, does all of his business with Celebrimbor way before the Numenorians show up to be part of it.
They can overlap some of this stuff, and it wouldn't be none the wiser, and it would actually make for great television.
Well, but look at it this way. Maybe Russell Crowe shows up late in season one. Late in season one as a surprise new character, one of the later kings of Numenor. That could be interesting.
And one of the reasons I think that he is not late in season one, I think he is part of the pilot, because J.A. Bayona, the director of only the pilot, has tweeted, subtweeted, and retweeted Russell Crowe on several things recently. So
well, that settles that then. Okay. Then that means...
I think Russell Crowe is opening the show. Hey, Cliff, let's go to our next thing. Okay. One of the key sentences in that synopsis that we debuted last week that is confirmed is they talk about the far reaches of the map, correct? And the
furthest reaches of the map. Okay.
The furthest, yeah. Which what does that mean? Does that mean furthest east?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. You see all this stuff way over here? Here's my wonderful fold out map. Right. Do you see this? There's Mirkwood. Everybody see Mirkwood right there? Now let's go a little bit further. This is the land to the east called Rhûn. And this word Rhûn is actually Elvish. All this land's over here. Let me bring this map up a bit. See this? These lands.
Okay, so where's Harad? Where are the Harad people from?
Well, that's way down off the bottom of the map. The word for east in Elvish is Rhûn, and way south here is where the Harad are. You want to get a better idea, I would recommend people grab their copy of the Atlas of Middle Earth, and we're actually talking about the furthest reaches of the map. This is the map that I unfolded because most people are familiar with this map. It was
so basically the furthest reaches of the map are the furthest east, right? The far east. Would you call that the far east of the map?
Yeah, but there's some other drafts of maps that Christopher Tolkien did this one.
Right. So we'll get to those other maps right now, but we're just talking about when Amazon says the furthest reaches of the map, we are talking about the far east of the map.
And the far south. And
the far south.
Many regions to the south and to the east. Yes.
My second question to you is, Cliff, based on the text, based on the literature, the books, yes, where are the two blue wizards? Which way did they head?
To the east.
They headed
Yeah.
to the far east.
Yeah, Professor Tolkien said, and there are existing maps that Christopher Tolkien did with working through his father's maps that include mountain ranges that are named as the Red Mountains. In Elvish, the name of the Red Mountains is the Orocarni. I've seen some people in the chat talking about that already. And there are entire spaces of continent. There are sloping forests. There are massive fields.
So the
there
far
are
reaches,
lands and geography that are so far out there, they represent kingdoms and people. And what the Blue Wizards would have interacted with would have been entire cultures that had been influenced by Morgoth way, way back in the early First Age.
let me ask you this: is there a chance? Do you believe that the Wizards, by going east, in an effort to find people of men that did they take a visage that looks like the locals that they interact with?
We don't know that. Nobody knows that. Nothing was written about that.
Well, so let's go to our next rumor. So our next big rumor, again, Green Dragon Gossip episode.
Mm-hmm.
I've got. Let's bring it up on screen. Our first blue wizard is going to be the esteemed actor, worldwide superstar, not quite as big as Russell Crowe, but the huge name from some of our most favorite films, Ken Watanabe.
Ken Watanabe.
And we're saying that we have a confidence level currently at 65% that he is currently in New Zealand filming with the Lord of the Rings right now. One of the reasons, so a few things that are driving this confidence level. This is let's drop a few names.
Let's drop a few names on his curriculum vitae. Star of Batman Begins, opposite Christian Slater. And
Godzilla.
I mean opposite, not Christian Slater, sorry.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, opposite as
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale, that's what I meant. And then, of course, with Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai.
Inception with that all-star cast.
And the recent Godzilla films with the new reboot of the Kong and Godzilla world. That's Ken Watanabe, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorite,
and of course, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But people in the chat room are exploding with excitement. I see it. Bernardo says Ken Watanabe is Blue Wizard. Wow, I'm sold. Matthew says, "Whoa, that would be an incredible casting choice."
It would be absolutely wonderful. That would be wonderful because I've been hearing this rumor for a long time too. I'm really glad that this rumor is still floating in the air. It looks like we're getting a call on the hotline. But I'm telling you, I have always known that actors like this could be part of the Blue Wizard story, because they're going to take us to places where they had to work effectively with the cultures and the people of the East to try to disengage them from Morgoth's influence, to disengage them and to thwart the plans of the enemy. How do you do that best? How do you do that with an Istari, a wizard? I mean, there are completely different personalities of these Maiar spirits that are some stuff that Tolkien wrote about in the Silmarillion and in Unfinished Tales, about how they had these relationships with their Valar above them. Radagast was one of the Maya who was connected to Yavanna, the Valar in flowers and nature and birds and creatures. And so that's why Radagast had such a Dr. Doolittle type of energy.
So let me bring up my next rumor then, because
it's going to be so cool. This is so cool.
We're 65% positive that this rumor is true. He's currently in New Zealand filming. We think, this is the Green Dragon Gossip episode, but it makes sense on all levels for making a global TV series that will play as well in China as it does in everywhere else in the world. And Ken Watanabe, welcome to Middle Earth. I am so excited.
I love this rumor.
But Cliff,
I love this. He's going to be great.
Just like Saruman and Gandalf were best friends, and then Gandalf and Radagast were best friends, the Blue Wizard Ken Watanabe has a best friend that he collaborates with a lot on those far edges of the map. And so if Ken Watanabe represents the easternmost lands, the far east of Middle Earth, we also have to go to the far south and southeast of Middle Earth.
Yes,
so
we do.
Our next huge rumor, and this has been around on Reddit for a bit, but I'm getting more confident. So I'm confident here to tell y'all. Let's bring it up on screen. Actor Ghassan Massoud, who you saw in Kingdom of Heaven, with Orlando Bloom. I'm 60% certain he's currently in New Zealand filming his part as the other Blue Wizard.
Oh, he is so awesome. That is so cool. You know, the idea of them getting some of these material stories to tell the story of the Blue Wizards, it's incredibly smart. That is the best and smartest gateway to get at, because in the timeline, Saruman and Gandalf and Radagast had not yet arrived in Middle-earth until the Third Age. But out of the various contradicting, not contradicting, but out of the various developing manuscripts that Tolkien wrote about the Blue Wizards, his second stage, and later in his life, he reconsidered and rewrote the names and the purposes of the Blue Wizards, and he brought them into Middle-earth in the Second Age. And that means that Amazon is probably doing the right thing in licensing the secondary written stuff that Professor Tolkien worked on that changed the names of the Blue Wizards, and their purpose was much more defined to not be, as in an earlier draft, he had written down that they were not really much successful in their efforts, or perhaps they just disappeared and got lost or persuaded by the enemy. But in his later writings, Tolkien was more specific about the efficacy, the absolute success rate of these Blue Wizards in his later manuscripts, when he changed their names, represented a more determined stance on the part of the professor that his Blue Wizards would be highly effective in changing the nature of the pieces moving on the board. Before
let's bring up a
we
more
get too
recent...
far. That's really brilliant. This is going to be brilliant stuff.
I think we have a more recent photo of Ghassan Massoud that we can bring up. You know, he definitely now, Kingdom of Heaven was 15 years ago or more. So he's definitely got a salt and pepper beard now. He definitely has the gravitas. And I love a chat room comment. People in chat rooms saying both have a huge presence on screen. And if there's one thing that the Wizards need to have, is a huge presence on screen. And both Ghassan Massoud and Ken Watanabe have just giant premises. Now, Cliff, you've written books about J.R.R. Tolkien. You produced Ringer's Lord of the Fans. You are a lifetime scholar of Tolkien's writings, and you've read almost everything. What do you say to people if the two Blue Wizards are Ken Watanabe and Ghassan Massoud? What do you say to people that think that Tolkien is European white lore? Is this true to Tolkien to have an Asian and a Persian wizard?
Of course it is. Of course it is. He's got wizards and stories of his Valar going. If his gods and goddesses can go all across the planet the Valar, and if his elves, if his firstborn children of Iluvatar can be born thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away on another side of the continent, and then make the great journey. Anybody go look at your copy of the Silmarillion and tell me how many times Professor Tolkien puts his characters and his concerns in various regions of the world. Happens all the time. It's obvious that Tolkien had his elves born on the farthest reaches of the map. His elves were born and then had to travel across the greatest migration in the history of Arda, called the Great Journey. And how many different things did they encounter on their great journey? In fact, many of the elves were so entranced with Middle-earth and the regions that they passed through that some of them decided not even to go all the way back to see the light of the two trees of Valinor. Some of them elected to stay behind. Come on, people. There are so many times that Tolkien put his characters and his mythologies and his interests, his personal interests, in various places around the map, not the least of which is the great Numenorian age of expansion and colonization. And Tolkien was very intrigued by the effect of this colonization and how the Numenorians went and arrived to interact with different cultures and different people on different shores. So yeah, it's very plain in the histories of Arda that Tolkien was interested in what was going on over there. So
Isn't it
why wouldn't we have, people of color to help us represent all these other regions we're going to go and explore? There is no conversation that is worthy of my time that says that Professor Tolkien's limited view of telling a story was only for the benefit of just white characters and white people. That's just not what he was doing. He was interested in telling a story about characters making metaphysical choices and choices of character and courage and spirit to do the right thing to save the world from the threat of evil. And that covers a greater expanse of his thought was to think about and to even go back and rewrite, as we see in the Unfinished Tales. He went back to rewrite the Blue Wizards to show that they were more effective and engaged in stopping the shadow from spreading through these other regions of the world. So
and isn't it true that the wizards? Isn't it true that the wizards chose a singular form and they stuck with it? Like, there's no such thing as young Gandalf. Gandalf always appeared as an old man. So wouldn't it be accurate to, if the blue wizards are playing in the far east, in the far southeast, in the far south, that they would choose as their form to interact with mortals and elves and men,
of course,
that they would look like the locals. They would look like the locals to build the trust of the locals. And so here we are.
They would also do that through manifesting their connection to who they are as a Maiar spirit, actually in physical form. Remember, these 5 individuals are not humans. You guys have to remember that. They are not human. They are not.
Right. But they are
in a physical shell. They're in a physical shell to try to thwart the plans of the enemy. And that means capital E, enemy.
So the reason that we're saying that these 2 actors are involved in the series, and these 2 actors are the Blue Wizards. One, the wizard character, the Blue Wizards, play such an important role in the challenge against Sauron that they need to be powerful, and they need to be powerful. Secondly, the global nature, the billion-dollar nature of this TV series, the fact that there's so much money on the line, the realities of filmmaking, it's film business, right? So the business side of this is this show needs stars, superstars, respected around the world to hold the hardest and the highest caliber characters. And so based on the chat room today, both of those actors as the two Blue Wizards is an absolute home run. Home run.
It sure
You
is.
got it.
Do you know what? Even when you look at Unfinished Tales, there's specific notes that Gandalf himself, before he got very, very busy doing things in Middle Earth, Gandalf went to travel to those farther regions off the map where the other Istari also went. So, yes. And if Amazon wants to surprise the audience, maybe we should green dragon gossip a little bit that even though Gandalf is not supposed to appear chronologically until the Third Age, they might surprise us and have more than just two Blue Wizards.
That is some juicy gossip, Cliff.
Why wouldn't it be so? Now, I'm going to gossip even further, and I'm going to say that with this casting speculation for these two actors as the Blue Wizards, I will speculate on this show right now that yes, Unfinished Tales has been licensed from the Tolkien estate. And I will put my level of confidence in my rumor at 85% confident, because there's no reason for us to tell us the story of these characters, these wizards. And even the rumor that, somebody who's a more familiar wizard from the Third Age might show up prematurely in the timeline. If that kind of stuff happens, then we might see people, even the word resistance, there's like the word is resistance in quotes, that Sauron was busy trying to get dominion over these lands so that he could use these people in Umbar and the Far Harad and to the east of Rhûn. Sauron was aggressively trying to bring those places under his dominion so he could use those people in his fight against Gondor, which was established by the Númenóreans. So if all this is falling into place, it makes a lot of sense for these characters to run around to these other places and try to thwart the plans of Sauron, Sauron was taking advantage of the seeds, the earlier seeds that had been planted by his daddy, Dark Lord Morgoth.
Yeah. So a lot of people in the chat room are talking about the rumors we've had over the last couple weeks. It's not really rumors. The last couple weeks have been just speculation that Lenny Henry could be a wizard. I don't agree with that speculation. I think Lenny Henry is better cast as a king of dwarves. And as we know, famously, the dwarves were not corrupted by the rings, and not fully the way the men were. The role, the dwarves have a very important role to play in the multi-season story in the battles against Sauron. So I don't think Lenny Henry is going to be a wizard creatively. Secondly, I don't think Lenny Henry is a wizard because he hasn't been filming yet. Lenny Henry is supposed to be on a flight next week. Lenny Henry will be in New Zealand starting next week. This will be his first time in New Zealand. So he is just getting started on the show. So I don't think Lenny Henry is part of the pilot, but I think he has an important part to play in the series, and he is just about to arrive in New Zealand. So if any of you have some connections to Auckland's TMZ camera crews, next week is a big week to be at the airport with paparazzi cameras, because we would like to know what big actors are coming to New Zealand right now. So our DMs are always open. Just slide us a little photo or slide us a little local news thing of people, special people coming to New Zealand, because next week is the big week where a bunch of flights are scheduled from London to Auckland for actors to join the production. But Lenny Henry so far has not filmed anything. He's just getting to set shortly. One of the reasons, and Cliff, we'll have a future discussion about Lenny Henry's role in Lord of the Rings, because I think it's more important than is he an elf, is he a wizard, is he a dwarf. Lenny Henry's involvement of this show is explicitly an effort by the studio to do right by their actors in a way that Disney and Lucasfilm did not do right by John Boyega. And there is, and we started talking about that on Twitter this weekend and Twitter today, because the Twitter discourse has started talking about, how John Boyega and Finn, was set up for greatness, and then they got cold feet. And then by the third movie, Lucasfilm was just not protecting their actor against the racism and vitriol that he was bombarded with on social media. And famously, Kelly Marie Tran was driven off Instagram and Twitter by just straight up racism and misogyny. We know Tolkien fans are better than that, but it is something that it's not about being woke. It's just about telling a story that is true to Tolkien and supporting your actors so they can feel that they're doing the best work of their career. And I can tell you right now, the hiring of Lenny Henry, who has a PhD in Black cultural media studies, a PhD in Black media, is a really important sign that they are taking this seriously. They're taking Tolkien seriously, and they're taking accuracy, cultural accuracy seriously. And he doesn't need the money. He is so successful on his own. He would not be involved in this show if he didn't have, if he didn't feel that this was really important.
Indeed.
But that's a whole nother conversation that we're going to have in future episodes, because I feel like it's an important conversation that we need to continue to have. Cliff, I've got some more juice. I've got some more juicy rumors, Cliff. Okay. What's the number 2 thing that all fans wanted to know about this show, about the making of the show?
The number 2 thing that they wanted to know most about the making of the show?
Who is doing the soundtrack?
Who is doing the music? Absolutely. Yes, that is.
The music is important. Look, we just did 24 hours of watch-alongs with Doug Adams, the writer of the book. So music is so important. His book is on its 6th printing edition. The complete recording soundtracks have sold out multiple times, like straight up sold out, going on eBay. The CD's going on eBay for $500 or more. So the music is important. We've got an update. Cliff.
You've got more rumors about the music. Tell me this is a Howard Shore rumor. I'm all here for this. So, first rumor, Howard Shore is not involved in the series. Oh,
but they are talking. But they are talking with him about consulting on the carryover of themes to where appropriate.
Really?
In the show.
You mean themes like when the One Ring is forged, we might actually hear the familiar theme, the history of the ring?
Allegedly the efforts are to carry on the musical legacy of Howard Shore, and include him in the process. But definitely the doors are open to someone else to score the $1 billion TV series. And supposedly it's going to have the biggest musical budget in television history. Most TV shows have never been able to afford the London Symphony Orchestra. Everything is on the table right now. This is going to have the biggest music budget in television history.
This is intriguing.
Let's go to our first.
Very, very intriguing.
So we've got our first candidate that they're looking at. And let's bring it up on screen. James Newton Howard is a well-known and well-respected musician and composer.
Wow, everybody knows James Newton Howard. He jumped in and did the score for King Kong for Peter Jackson.
That's right. And he did the Dark Knight trilogy.
Absolutely, yes, he did.
I believe he did Shape of Water.
No, you mean Hans Zimmer did the Dark Knight trilogy.
They collaborated on it. They collaborated. James Newton Howard did a lot of the music themes, and Zimmer did a lot of the effects music. I would like to call it.
Really?
So yeah, he did King Kong with Peter Jackson, Signs for Mel Gibson, I Am Legend with Will Smith, Unbreakable.
He's done all of the M. Night Shyamalan films.
He's done the M. Night Shyamalan films, and he's done the Dark Knight movies. So if you want a legacy that is worked with Peter Jackson, that has the history of thrillers, like the director J.A. Bayona is familiar with, he is the right conductor, and he's the right guy to work with J.A. Bayona. And I'd be really excited to hear what he does.
He's a big name in motion picture scoring, and for him to be pulled out of motion picture scoring to do season after season of a TV series, wow, that's a big jump in his career, actually. What an intriguing rumor. I'm totally down for that. James Newton Howard is incredibly good at what he does, and he's also comfortable in stepping in to what were previously Howard Shore's shoes, because Shore was going to do all the music for King Kong, and then there was a creative difference and a problem that kept Howard Shore from staying on with King Kong. Here you go. James Newton Howard came in to fill his shoes. And wouldn't that be such a synergy?
And one of the interests and one of the most valuable things for a television series is James Newton Howard is proven himself to be able to collaborate with big old egos like Hans Zimmer. The fact that he was able to work with Hans Zimmer on the Batman trilogy, and then step into Howard Shore's shoes working with Peter Jackson. James Newton Howard is the team player, as well as having the skill. But the next big name, I think, Cliff, you're going to get really excited about this because the rumors are heating up. The rumors are heating up for James Horner to score Amazon's Lord of the Rings.
Really? They're going for the big guns. Horner is a legend. James Horner is a legend. He's done like the biggest movie scores, and he's worked with Russell Crowe before too. My gosh. Wait a minute now.
Braveheart, Avatar, Titanic, Aliens, Star Trek, Apollo 13, Legends of the Fall, Field of Dreams. I can remember Field of Dreams made me cry because of the music. Braveheart made me cry because of the music. Titanic made me cry because of the music. Avatar is just a bunch of blue people, but the music was good.
Someone in the chat says James Horner is dead, isn't he? Wait a minute. We should check our rumor before.
Hang on.
But those are pretty big names. Those are really, really big names. I'm looking on IMDb right now.
You're right. You're right.
So
that's why this is the Green Dragon Gossip Show.
Justin, we can't be throwing garbage rumors like that when he's dead.
He's dead. He's dead.
You know what? That's a shame because he's
what we do in the shadows. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. But you know who is still living?
You know what? That's funny.
You know who's still living?
By the way, we're in the rumor mill of the worst sort right now.
Yeah. We've gone from ultimate validity to just junk.
Do you know what?
Um,
I see dead people, said James Newton Howard.
but hey, Cliff, you know who's someone that we've talked about for a long, long time?
Tell me.
Trevor Jones.
I love Trevor Jones. Oh, are you kidding me? You can't be telling me Trevor Jones's name is coming up.
So it turns out that the
He is the
showrunner
guy, hold on. He is the guy who wrote the score for The Dark Crystal. Trevor
and
Jones.
Last of the Mohicans.
I know, but as much as y'all talk about the Last of the Mohicans score, Trevor Jones is my guy. He wrote the music for The Dark Crystal. Oh, wow. Can you imagine the man who wrote the music for The Dark Crystal being able to come and step into Middle Earth? Whoa. Yeah, Jeff, it is funny. It's very funny.
And the interesting thing about Trevor Jones is he did the movie From Hell with Johnny Depp, which definitely has the same vibe that J.A. Bayona likes to play in, that kind of dark and
that
mysterious.
Penny Dreadful.
Penny Dreadful vibe. From Hell and Penny Dreadful definitely share a vibe. But the one of the reasons that this rumor has been heating up is we know we've seen the showrunners of the show have expressed a huge passion for him, for Trevor Jones, and all the work that he's done. And of course, the themes that he's created are iconic. He hasn't worked on many things. So it's about time to herald a resurgence in Trevor Jones. So I'm
thrilled that this rumor has hit now, because
don't forget Labyrinth with David Bowie.
Yeah, I know. Yes, he worked with David. He worked with David Bowie on Labyrinth. But his music for now here's an example of how they might do what they did with the Netflix series Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. They brought in a new composer to do the whole television series, but still from time to time they brought in very recognizable leitmotif from the original Trevor Jones score of the 1982 film. So maybe if this plays out, you might see Trevor Jones doing all of his original work for the Amazon Studio series, and then carefully and beautifully bringing in leitmotifs from Howard Shore's music from the 6 films prior. That could be interesting, and maybe this will give the audience a clue of how old music and new music can come together in a sequel TV series. We should be looking at the way they did the score for The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance as an example of how they might do that. Intriguing.
Here's the thing. I think Lord of the Rings, I think this TV series and the Lord of the Rings films, I think they benefit from having a singular visionary.
Yes.
In each department, right? Like, I feel like the strength of the Dark Crystal was that it had a singular visionary directing all the episodes. Louis Letellier, right?
Yes.
So, and I think, Peter Jackson has a singular vision. Am I disappointed that J.A. Bayona is not directing the entire first season? Yes.
Well,
am I so excited that he was able to do the 2-part pilot? Yes, because he is the right person to set the tone for this series. And it's crazy that Dark Crystal did not get a second season from Netflix.
It is. It is absolutely crazy, because they already built all the huge sets that are up on platforms. They already went to the trouble to build everything and to have the puppet fabricators and the craftspeople and the carpenters construct all this stuff, so that their second and third season didn't have all that overhead. They already had everything built. They were ready to go. It just boggles the mind that they shut that second season down. But you know what? I agree with this assessment that if J.A. Bayona were to stay on entirely the way that comparatively Louis Leterrier was the one captain in the captain's chair for the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, and he worked on as executive producer and co writing and filming with and directing everything from the top down. And that was the way that engine was running so smoothly. But maybe in the next couple of seasons, Amazon Studios might consider another approach. They might consider another approach in the future.
Right. Look, you can adjust for future seasons, but the first season really needs to be a banger.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
and then
that's true.
And so we're wrapping up our Green Dragon gossip episode. The other gossip I have is they've been shooting nights for the last week. They are shooting in the West Auckland area called Henderson.
Oh.
If you know anyone in New Zealand that has a drone and loves long walks at midnight, please send them to Henderson. And
please, fans, go get your drones and go out there and cause mischief. No, you don't want to interrupt the filming of this billion-dollar TV series with drones flying over. But you know what we do want? We would like to know if you see anything. So I hope that our YouTube channel on the archive is something that our New Zealand friends can look at. If you're not watching the show live right now, then I hope that when you see this later on, we would love to know of any particular funny things that you see, like lights in the sky in the distance when they're doing night filming. We would really love to know stuff like that. And you can send DMs right to us at spymaster@theonering.net, or I'm QuickBeam2000 at Twitter. I'm QuickBeam2000. This
Twitter
guy,
and Twitter and Instagram as
we're at
well.
The OneRing, The OneRing Net. That's us.
The OneRing Net. So again, if you know any friends in if you have any friends in New Zealand, you want to tell them to head on over to Henderson and Te Atatu South. Te Atatu South, which is there's a giant ocean inlet that goes basically from Te Atatu Peninsula all the way into Henderson. So it gives them a lot of water area to play in. Okay. Lots of trees. There's some hills and stuff that they can use. But they've been doing a lot of night shoots this last week. So so Cliff, do you have any other Green Dragon gossip this week?
No, but well, should I? No, should I? No, we can wait. We can wait on that. I'm really thrilled that these rumors are not just going away. Sometimes you get a rumor and it goes away because the nature of the project changes. And I'm talking about the young Aragorn rumor. We reported on that at a time when it was actively going on, and then after many meetings and many story meetings, and then many more story and development meetings, after all that time changed, then things changed. Okay,
right? They got a better pitch.
They got a better pitch, but at the time when it was happening, and we knew it was happening because the people who were going to be doing all the side jobs and the merchandise and all the stuff, they were getting information about young Aragorn.
Look, word gets out. Word
got out. Now here's what's happening. This rumor about Ken Watanabe is not going away, and the rumor about Russell Crowe is not going away. In fact, it continues, and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to hear it.
So cool. Cliff, I got one last rumor. I got one last juicy rumor. And
you do.
I think you've heard it too, but I'm going to put this at 5%. So I don't think I'm not confident. I'm not confident in this rumor. But I want to see what percent confidence you have in the rumor.
Okay.
that they are Amazon is trying desperately to figure out how to get Hobbits into the show.
Oh boy, yeah. That rumor has passed across my desk a couple of times too, and I
Yeah,
don't know what to say about that because
I I put drops of water toward it. Like that's a 5% confidence level for me. It's almost nothing.
because I haven't heard it but once or twice. I never heard it again, and I don't believe that is. I don't think it's wise. There's no wisdom in forcing a whole species or like a subspecies rather of characters to appear many thousands of years out of place, totally out of place on the timeline.
I'm
There's
okay with the timeline stuff. I know you're not, but I'm
um,
totally okay with
who
the
would
timeline
be?
stuff.
Why would you be? I
What
mean, why?
a good story is a good story. Like I don't need
And
to adhere to tens of thousands of years
tell,
between. Like, look, I'm
tell that
okay
to
with
that
movies
tell that to
showing.
the tell that to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Why are they not introducing Doctor Strange and all the dimensions of madness? They're introducing that in Phase 4. They did not introduce it in Phase 1. It was too early. It was way too early for the MCEU to do that. So that's why you had places in the timeline of certain major events they cannot change. That's one thing that was revealed by Tolkien scholar and author Tom Shippey while he was briefly talking to people on a German fan podcast. He told us that Amazon Studios is not allowed to mess around or alter significant events in the historical timeline. So I'm afraid that I must offer a very big counterpoint. Justin, maybe you don't care about the timeline, but the Tolkien estate does. And the
Okay,
terms of this
well,
deal, are built on that. They cannot
look,
change that.
I agree with
Timeline
that,
changes.
but I'm saying not they don't have to work Hobbits into the storyline, but work them into the show somehow. Let me ask you this: could every episode start like Jim Henson's storyteller series, where Gandalf is telling Bilbo or Frodo or some Shire folk tales of old from the books? Let's see what happened in the Second Age.
Oh, well
And we
then you've got
start.
an anthology series on your hands. And if they do it that way, they can do anything they damn well want. And
Do you
then they
want
can
an anthology series?
actually, I was one of the early advocates for it. I'm very, very much for the Silmarillion to be developed as a massive anthology series, and also for this stuff that we're getting from the Second Age of Middle Earth. Yeah, I would be down for Sean Astin to come back as the mayor of the Shire, and he opens up what? The Red Book of Westmarch. And what does he do? He's reading wonderful stories of the past to his grandchildren. I would love that. I'm all down for
Okay,
that. But we'll see. We'll
I
see.
wouldn't.
We'll see.
I wouldn't. I call it lazy filmmaking, and I call it lazy storytelling. But
I
that's
don't know
why
about that.
I don't like the rumor, but I keep hearing about it. So, but I'm not holding any weight on it. So let's recap what we talked about today. Again,
Okay,
Green Dragon
okay.
Gossip episode. This entire conversation is pure speculation with a level of confidence that Cliff and I have. So let's bring it up on screen. The rumor that we're most confident on, Russell Crowe is the big A-list star that Amazon is going to put on the cover of Vanity Fair.
He is going to be one of the big stars of this series. We do not know if they're going to start late in Numenorian history, where he will be Ar-Pharazôn, the last and most tragic king of Numenor. And we don't know if he will be one of the great dwarven lords, maybe one of the Durins. We don't know. But I am so happy that this consistent rumor is not going away. And it makes pure, plain common sense to look at the showrunners and people chatting with each other on social media, and you can tell that they're buddies, and he's down there for a reason. So it's a pretty solid rumor, isn't it?
The other, and one of the other reasons we're confident in this rumor is Twitter exploded this weekend with love and passion for his movie Far Side of the World.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because someone tried to clown Russell Crowe on Twitter about his big boat movie, directed
Master
by
and
Peter
Commander.
Weir, Master and Commander, starring Billy Boyd.
That's right.
Another
Starring
Lord
none
of the
other
Rings
than
connection.
Pippin. Yes.
So Russell Crowe is comfortable at sea, and if the show is actually playing in the story of Numenor, there's going to be a lot of sea action, right? There's going to be a lot of sea action.
As long as they don't ask him to sing like he did in Les Mis.
But if he sings a sea shanty, I'm happy. I want Russell Crowe singing sea shanties.
You are too funny. You are
so
too
say
funny.
We all, people in the chat
hilarious.
on Twitter want me to stop with the sea shanty stuff, but I'm never going to stop with sea shanty stuff. All right,
say
let's
that
go
10 times fast.
Russell Crowe's our big rumor. We're very confident in it.
Yes,
our next big rumor, man, he just looks like a king. Our next big rumors are the two blue wizards are going to be played by Ghassan Massoud from Kingdom of Heaven, starring Orlando Bloom, and Ken Watanabe from Inception and Crouching Tiger and
he was
Batman
not in Crouching Tiger.
He isn't?
Nope.
No. That's
he was
Chow
not
Yun
in Crouching
Fat.
Tiger. That was Chow Yun Fat.
Wow. That is totally...
Just so you know.
That's two big mistakes for me. I'm
Someone
sorry.
in the chat called you out on that a long time ago, but yes.
Yeah, I'm bad. I'm terrible. No, so let's just stick with Inception and the Batman and the Godzilla movies.
You are so funny.
So those are our two blue wizards. I'm getting fairly confident, and the reason that those numbers keep tricking up, a month ago I was down at like 30% on these guys, but one of the reasons that I am confident in these numbers and these two guys is their IMDb calendars are empty right now.
Really?
After 2019, after Godzilla King of Monsters, Ken Watanabe doesn't have anything new.
You're right. And after Ghassan Massoud was working on the 2019 film The Legend of Tomyris, where he played Cyrus, he's got nothing else after that. So his calendar is empty too. You're right.
And you have to remember, Bayona was filming the pilot a year ago right now.
Yes.
Remember, COVID delayed everything a year. So at the beginning of 2020, we were supposed to have a pilot done and finished and wrapped and everything like that. So
wow, pretty awesome stuff. I like these rumors, and I'm loving that LOTR and Palando, who were rewritten and renamed as Morenhetar and Romestamo, those are the later versions of the Blue Wizards that are so gonna make a big impact on this show. Remember the names, folks. Morenhetar and Romestamo, which was when Professor Tolkien rewrote and reconsidered very seriously the actions and the operations of the Blue Wizards in the later drafts of his life. And instead of just calling them LOTR and Palando, he changed their level of engagement and their level of success against the forces of the enemy. I'm really excited about these characters, more than I can tell you, folks. I'm really excited.
I'm really excited for the casting of those characters, and I think if if those three rumors prove true, Russell Crowe, Ken Watanabe, and Ghassan Massoud, I am totally sold on this show. Totally sold, because I'm such a huge fan of the caliber of those men's performances. Not just their star power, the caliber of their acting abilities.
I'm going to see how I'm going to be sold on the show when I see these new characters. Who are these unknown, brand new characters that they're cutting from whole cloth that we've never seen before. When they integrate the classic characters that we know, like Gil-galad and Elrond and Galadriel and Ar-Pharazôn and Sauron, when they start blending the real characters that we know, Durin and Narvi, who carved with Celebrimbor, the great western gate of Moria that the Fellowship encounters so many centuries later. When they blend the old classic characters with the new, brand new ones, if that synthesis really does work, then I will be sold. But we'll wait and see.
Well, let me ask you this, Cliff. How many of the 9 kings of men have been named?
I think Kamul from the east. I think only one. I think maybe 1 or 2 have been named.
How many of the dwarves that were corrupted by the Sauron? How many of the 7 dwarves were named?
They were not named except for the ones that he says that a couple were destroyed by Dragonfire, and I think 4 of them were reclaimed by Sauron, right? 2 were destroyed by Dragonfire, and that left the last one, which was inherited by Thorin's grandfather, the great king under the mountain, Thror. Right. Thror himself, who passed it down to his son, Thrain, and poor Thorin never got it. It looks like
so the other dwarves could be named Dopey, Sneezy, Sleepy, Bashful.
You better stop talking like that. You're going to earn the wrath of every Tolkien fan, and you will disturb the spirit of the professor himself. Don't even do that.
John Ruddy, that joke was for you. Thank you for coming in our chat with that joke, and I took the heat for that. This has been Torn Tuesday, the Green Dragon gossip episode of all the rumors and speculation and things that are true and untrue. But we just dived into everything that we've heard of our ears to the ground right now. And we hope we didn't lose any credibility from the awesomeness that was last week when we did get the official real synopsis that was verified across the internet. Cliff,
it's going to be thank you, sir, for this wonderful amount of speculation. It is a wonderful hour and 10 minutes of playfulness. But I gotta say, it might be a long time, ladies and gentlemen, in our faithful audience. It might be a long time before we confirm these rumors of Mr. Masood, Mr. Watanabe, or Mr. Crowe being in the cast.
And I guarantee you, as much as we want Amazon to love us, the confirmation of those actors are not suited for the One Ring. The confirmation of those big actors are going to come in a major article like Vanity Fair, Empire Magazine.
Yeah, probably Empire Magazine or Vanity Fair, or maybe Entertainment Weekly, or maybe, we don't know, maybe even Vogue. One of those other big outlets is going to get the big splashy announcement about the cast. But I don't want anybody to come complaining to us when we said this was a 65% level rumor. Okay. That gave us 35% breathing space. Okay. All right. But I do want to remind the audience again that the rumor of Russell Crowe has not gone away, and I'm behind it 1,000%. I wonder then, our next stage is to speculate on who exactly, whether dwarf, man, or definitely not an elf who shaved. He's got to be either one of the great men of Middle-earth or one of the great men of Numenor, or perhaps he needs to be one of the dwarven lords.
His character's name will echo in eternity. That's for certain.
Oh, and the next question is, do we speculate on when a trailer or a teaser trailer might come out?
Yes. Okay, I've got some Green Dragon gossip for you on that.
Okay, but before we close the show, one more juicy bit of gossip. One more.
The gossip is we're going to get the 2-part pilot premiere this year, November, maybe even December, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the release of Fellowship of the Ring. And then there will be a break. There will be a pause, and maybe it's 1 month, maybe it's 2 months, and then we'll get the rest of season 1 a couple months into 2022.
Whoa.
So the current rumors are, again, total speculation. Current rumors are we're going to get the pilot this year, and we're going to get a trailer around San Diego Comic-Con, which might be a virtual convention again.
Wow.
Because let's be honest, California does not have the doses of the vaccine
No, we don't.
in quantity yet. I'm going to be last on the list to get it. So
yeah, me too. So here's the thing. That's fine. We'll do another virtual convention. But, hey, the DC Fandom was a very big and very successful online convention event. And so was San Diego Comic-Con last summer. As online events go, it was very successful. And we, the TheOneRing.net, we did a great panel for Comic-Con in 2019. In 2020. So,
that's right.
Hey.
So as we look at 2021 this year, we're still going to be virtual. We're still doing this remote. COVID is still a real part of our lives, but we're going to try our darndest to do what we did last year, but even bigger. And if you recall, last year when COVID started, when quarantine started, what was one of the first shows we did? We got together on Zoom before it was cool. The entire marketing department of New Line Cinema and went a workshop to discuss the preview trailer. So we're going to work on some more of those reunions. So please tweet at us. Please let us know what are some fan special reunions that you want to see. Josh Gad already did the epic Lord of the Rings reunion, but what are some people, some things that we can do as the One Ring that would be just wonderful? Should we celebrate the Cannes Film Festival sneak peek with people that were there? Maybe. There's so much we could do, but I want to get some ideas from you fans. So tweet at us. Jump into this chat room every Tuesday and tell us what's on your mind as far as fun things we can do while we're still under quarantine. Cliff, this has been a great rumor mongering episode full of speculation and falsities and half truths and brace girdles and buffets.
Brace girdles and boffins. Hey, you guys, I want to invite everybody to be here next Tuesday for TheOneRing.net celebrating my birthday next week. Okay, next Tuesday, we're gonna have a show next Tuesday, the 26th, at 5:00, as we do every week. And because my birthday is on the 27th, we can have a special show on the 26th, and we can have more rumors and maybe a couple of party games. We can do something fun. Okay, I'm excited about that. And you know what? The best part of this rumor today, really, is that little bit about Trevor Jones having his name floated around as composer for the series, because his music is so dear to my heart for The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, and I'm so into that. That is just so cool. You love his score for The Last of the Mohicans, which is many, many times referenced as one of the greatest romantic scores for a big adventure film that's ever been done.
Last of the Mohicans is one of the best scores ever made. Cliff, let me ask you this: for your birthday, should we open the Zoom and encourage people to bring a party hat?
Yeah, we should open the Zoom and let people bring a party hat or any goofy hat, any kind of hat you want. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you know what, guys? I'm going to open the Zoom. I'm going to share the link when we start the show. You guys will jump into the Zoom and we'll have a party with Cliff, and we can talk about everything that we're looking forward to on this show and everything that we love about Tolkien, and we can stroke Cliff's ego as much as we want, because he deserves it.
You're funny. You're so funny. I want to say thank you to the international audience that stayed up till 4 a.m. Thank you, Fausto, staying up till 4 a.m. in South Africa. Wow. And thank you for the audience in London and Wales and in New Zealand who are watching us, and in Japan, in South America, in India, and we have audience in Bangladesh. Everybody around the world has been so wonderful. Thank you. You are awesome. Let's have a good time and let's look out for one another. Okay, and be safe and be careful. And we're going to have another big show next Tuesday at TheOneRing.net. Look for us on all of our social channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TheOneRing.net, and look for me, QuickBeam2000. And we'll see you all next Tuesday. Until then, Justin, you are an excellent co-host. I appreciate you launching the show, and I will close the show out. To all of you, we wish you good night and good luck, or as I prefer to say, buenas noches y buena suerte.